In fact, he refers to, in the text, he refers to the great teacher, that is Paul, and references Paul a lot as if Paul was the author's actual teacher in life, right? So the authorship of this book claims to be this first century early Christian figure. Now, we don't know much about this figure. Really, the only place, or at least one of the very few places as far as I know, that Hierotheos is actually mentioned is in the writings of another very significant early Christian writer, which is, of course, the so-called pseudo-Dionysius. And this is a very interesting connection. In his writings, like in the Celestial Hierarchy, pseudo-Dionysius refers to his own teacher as someone called Hierotheos, right? And he also says that this Hierotheos supposedly wrote a text called The Elements of Theology, which is the title of a work by Proclus. So it's possible that Hierotheos was Proclus. This is a long story. I go through this in the video about pseudo-Dionysius. But the important thing here is that he claims that his teacher was this figure called Hierotheos. And because Dionysius, in his text, he claims to be Dionysius the Areopagite, who is also a first century Athenian figure, who was also converted and studied under Paul. And as we mentioned in that episode, scholars today and historians basically all agree that the writings of the so-called pseudo-Dionysius was actually not written by the first century Dionysius the Areopagite, but by a writer much later, around the year 500 perhaps, who claimed to be Dionysius.